Yeah, some people have like a conversion experience where they suddenly decide they want to enter religious life or change their life or enter into the priesthood. But for me, it was something very, very slow. I grew up,
Mm.
yeah, with that desire, wanting to be a priest. Yeah, so when I went to Jesuit high school here, actually, I kind of knew. I really knew. I told my friends and close friends, only close friends.
And your mother.
Maybe my mom. But yeah, most people didn't actually believe me, stuff like that. You know.
I thought a girl would get him.
So.
Like he said, he always talked about it since he was a young altar boy.
Mhm.
So I kind of knew. And like I also said, I thought a girl. I thought it was a passing phase, maybe to say. But being a good Italian mother, I always prayed to God that he could have one of our sons to the priesthood.
Oh.
So I was ordained in June of 2008. That was about 5 years ago. And yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. You know, it was a big ceremony and big party afterwards. And it was 10 years in the making. I was in religious life for 10 years before my ordination. So it's kind of a culminating celebration. But what do I remember from it? I don't know. I mean,
Just like
I remember being relieved after it was over. Yep, that's what I remember. Yeah, I just remember being surrounded by lots of friends and family and having fun with them. Yeah, you know, just thankful that people could be there and share in this moment of my life. And, you know, my priesthood is really a priesthood of service. And so to get to serve my friends and family and the people of God in a new way after ordination, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
Well, the actual day, it was a long day. It was a long mass. There was 4 of them ordained in the cathedral in Seattle, and it's a church kind of in the round, so that was nice. We each had a section, each of the families, and we filled our section, standing room, and with a lot of prayer, a lot of love, and it was just like having a wedding. I've married off 3 other boys in the family, and you worry over the guest list and who's on and who's not, and is everything going to go well, and enough food and drink at the after party and the reception, and it all went very, very well. And like you said, it was a long time in the making, so I wasn't worried, like, is this the right choice for him or anything like that. The decision had been made a long time before that. He was doing very well, seemed very happy. So,
You know, I felt humbled by the formation process leading up to ordination to the priesthood. I worked here and there, but I studied for 6 years of graduate school and did jobs that didn't pay a lot. So I did things like I was a chaplain in a jail for 3 years, and I taught high school for a couple of years and all those kinds of things. So the Society of Jesus and friends and family really took care of me as I was marching towards ordination. And so then when I got ordained, suddenly I could go to their houses and say Mass, and I could go back to St. Pius where I grew up and say Mass for the community, and I could go to St. Hubert's where my family has gone for many years and do my first Mass there. I could baptize my friends' babies and my cousins' babies, and do weddings for my former students and friends. First wedding I did was for Mrs. Bastable. Do you remember Mrs. Bastable?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did their wedding right after I was ordained. A month after I was ordained, I did their wedding, and I'd known her for 10 years or more.
Yeah.
I knew her before I entered religious life, her and her husband.
Oh.
So I knew them before they knew each other. So anyway, lots of little things like that. You get to be involved in people's lives. I'll never forget the first time somebody called and said, you know, my father's sick in the hospital, will you come bless him, and like all those things. I get to do, help families, do funerals, and be with them. I just got a call last night from a guy that I went to Jesuit High with. He lives in Hawaii now, and he's like, "We're having a baby. Will you come baptize it?"
Oh,
yeah, Tom.
Good.
So yeah, you want to go to Hawaii?
And you did his mother's.
I did his mother's funeral.
or
Yep.
spoke his mother's.
I think it's changed what it means to be a priest. I'm not sure it's changed the actual ritual. You know, the ritual is about putting oil on the hands and about a bishop giving you that authority to be a priest. I'm not sure that has changed a whole bunch, but it has changed what it means to be a priest. You know, the Jesuits used to be pretty monastic prior to Vatican II, so we lived in big giant houses with more than 100 guys in some of the houses, and we stuck to ourselves. And you know, here in Oregon we had a farm out on the coast in Sheridan, Oregon. There were maybe 200 Jesuits living on this farm, isolated from everybody else. And then after Vatican II, they closed the farm, moved into the cities, and started living and working with people in a more regular way. So I'd say that's the biggest thing. If Vatican II hadn't happened, I might be out in a monastery somewhere, you know, separated from the world a little bit more.
Yeah.
The word to me, it's been a long time since I've been in a classroom, but as a sacrament is something that I hope to live every day, even though you don't receive the sacrament. But it's a vow, which is more than a promise, and I look at a vow as a way of life. Like my sacrament of marriage, I took vows, and that meant forever. It's not just a promise that you can break. So you have to live it daily in order for it to work. You can't put it on the shelf and forget it. So
That's beautiful.
All right, thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you.